Hi everybody, it's Kimberly and welcome back. This is your first time tuning in to my new YouTube channel. I've been talking about twin flame connections, specifically my own, and just sharing details of this growth process that's happening during a twin flame separation. So what's happened with me is during this separation phase, it's been probably about 6 weeks, maybe. And in the last 2 or 3 weeks, like there has been a dramatic change. And especially because I came back into my own power, realigned with myself, and started my own healing and my own path to enlightenment. And if you've been watching, you know that I've also gone through my share of suffering and pain and all of those things that probably you're all experiencing. One of the things that happened was although I've never been I'm a writer. I love to write. I write for my work. I write professionally, and I love to write artistically, but I am not by any means a person who enjoys keeping a journal. There's something that I don't like about looking back at, emotions and process, and it feels like old energy to me, so I usually don't do it. But I am really good at exposing my feelings via text or in letter form to my lover or my partner when I'm in a relationship, especially when there are problems. It seems to be like my pathway to communication. I'm much better in writing feelings, emotions, than I am in expressing them in words. So in this process, when I was sort of like in the doldrums of, depression and suffering and pain and longing for this person, I began writing letters to him. And I didn't really have an attachment to whether he would ever see them or not. I guess I would just sit down and write and open up everything that was inside of me. So I wrote, I think, 2 weeks worth of letters. And then I really delved into all of this work. And I didn't really feel the need to be writing anymore. And I realized what I was writing was, although there was beauty in it and there was a lot of emotion and, love and all this stuff, like there was a lot of like analyzing the here and now and what's happening in the physical world and things that like really don't matter now that I have the right perspective. So, trying to get answers to things that I don't really need answers to, that are probably, or I know are within me. So looking now, I do have all these letters. They're saved on my computer. I printed them out and I just shredded them because I don't need that. I have come so far in just a few days, and it's amazing to see that growth, especially through the writing. And so the things that I wrote, not to criticize myself, but I feel like just a week ago, those things are now feel juvenile to me because I've grown up, because there's a greater awareness, because there's an evolution and a growth happening. And it's okay. They were relevant at the time and for where I was at the time. So you have to honor that. And either way, it was great for my process at the time. I felt like I was able to get these emotions out without having to open up the communication with my twin flame. And it was like a harmless way to heal myself. So over the past few days, there have been some communications that have surfaced, or I'd say over the past week. Although we've chosen, me and my twin flame are in a separation phase, just to enlighten you, if you haven't been following my segments. And he is now playing out another relationship that came, it was like a rekindling of a former love or past relationship that came up during our separation. So my understanding of that, just to take an aside and go down that road for a moment, is that what the truth for me in that is that there is healing that was never resolved between the two of them that is happening right now or about to happen. I know that his intention is to come back to me. And it's like he already knows that. He's trying to move towards that, but like there's something holding him in this relationship. So one of the things that I see with him is that with the intention to come back to me, he's not able to release me. And, you know, there is a bit of like selfishness, I would say. And there are growth things that he needs to go through so that he can raise up and figure out that, you know, that the best course of action really right now for both of us is to release one another. But, you know, keeping that communication for him and keeping that connection for him is necessary. For me, it's not. Like, I don't need it. I'm actually better connecting with him just in, like, through the, you know, spiritual dimension, the fifth dimension, however you want to see it, rather than in the third dimensional plane. Because to me, it just, like, reopens the reinforcement that things aren't happening in the here and now, and it makes it a bit more painful. Whereas once I'm in a higher vibration, I don't want to come back down here. You know, I want to stay up here where I can communicate with him, send him love, and, you know, and let things heal on their own time. So because he keeps bringing us back into the physical form, which is okay, you know, but it causes a bit of struggle within me. So if you're going through this where communication is opening and closing, and maybe you're being pulled from a high vibration back down to, you know, the plane of reality or material form, these things are still, I feel like, in your control to manage. And the way that you manage them is by setting new intentions and by shifting your vibration. So what I mean by that is, like, I guess there's a piece of me that's allowing that opening for him to communicate with me. And I'm starting to realize that I actually don't feel it's the healthiest decision for me right now. So in order to shift him so that he doesn't feel like there's an opening, I also have to completely shift myself. So there must be some piece of me that's leaving that opening for him to communicate. And, you know, of course, it's the piece of me that loves him and wants to hear from him. And, you know, but from a higher perspective, I know for me personally, it's not necessary. And without trying to control the situation, the way that you shift it is just from within. So, anyhow, so last night I was going through my process again, and instead of sitting down at the computer and writing a letter, I, you know, pulled up my iPhone. I was in my little notepad, and you're sort of like drafting a text to him. And I will tell you now that I'm not going to send this text. And he's probably not in the space to receive it. It's not necessary for my own process or healing to send it. It just was something that I needed to do so that I could realize that this shift to non-communication right now is what needs to happen. So I'm going to read you what I wrote, even though it's sort of personal, but I think that it may help some of you. And again, I'm not sending this to him. It's just something that I did for me, and that, it's kind of a manifesto to where I'm at, what I want, and how I want to move through this process moving forward. So the tone of it is that I'm looking for, a bit of, I'm finding the closure for myself. And that doesn't mean that it's done forever. It just means that, like, I sort of need it to be closed right now. But because I'm in a higher place, I can understand that better. And I don't know exactly where he's at, or like if he could get this. I have a feeling if I just blasted this over to him, he would be like, I don't care, I'm still coming back to you. And like not really understand what I'm saying. So this isn't really for him to understand, it's for you. Like everything you write and journal and draft and whatever it is, even if you don't send it or the other person is, it's for you to clarify your intentions, to get the emotions out. It's so important to do this. So I'm going to read you what I wrote. Okay. Thank you for being the experience that has brought about a tremendous amount of healing for me and being a catalyst for deep spiritual awakening. I understand now on many levels what our connection has meant. And even though it was brief, it changed and is changing my life in a positive way. I hope the same is or will be true for you. Our spiritual connection will forever be, and we will continue to be connected via higher consciousness and telepathy, and keep one another in thought for days, weeks, months, years, and lifetimes to come. The process of letting go and unconditionally loving somebody and ourselves enough to do so is not an easy one. I've really had to question myself to find the reasons why I've been resistant to letting go of you. And now I've found the answers from within and am making peace with it. I trust you are also taking it upon yourself to do your work so you can find your highest truth in all of this and grow through these soul relationships that have been placed in your life at this time. I'm sorry things didn't play out how we expected, or that the feelings we had in our hearts weren't a vibrational match to what we were thinking and manifesting. Perhaps in some other reality, this would have played out differently, and I'm sure it has and will in lifetimes before and lifetimes to come. But right now, we are simply not ready for one another. That timing, the not being ready for each other, is divine. We were holding up mirrors for one another so we could look more closely at ourselves and delve into patterns and behaviors that are no longer serving us. So now it is our responsibility as individuals to do the work on ourselves so that one day our harmonious union with the right person in divine timing can exist. Our connection was meaningful and filled with purpose. It brought about pain to open our hearts, reflection to awaken our spirits, and soul love to direct us towards true self-love. It's time to trust, without any intention of coming back together and without any expectation of future promise, that a full release and cessation of communication, bringing about completion of our relationship in the here and now, is necessary for the highest good of our connection. Send me light and love and set me free. This is all I ask of you. So that to me, like, says it all. That says it all. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for this higher truth, unconditional love, expect nothing in return, and find like a closing right now, so that I can just, keep moving on without reopening the communication and going back and forth. Like, I'm in a good place now. I've got to that higher place. So I do believe that he will feel that he'll feel me shift, because my intentions are in line with those words, because that is truly what I want, because the vibration behind those words is what I want. When things don't line up the way that you're talking, it's because, and I have a tendency of doing this, the intention behind it is not really the same as what you're speaking. You're not truly speaking your truth. So be careful of that. Make sure that you're not speaking from ego, and that you're not speaking from defense, and that you're not speaking from or writing from, anywhere else but the deep, deep inner truth that you know, and from your truest intentions. Even if you want to judge your intentions and say, like, for instance, say I wanted to keep the communication open, but I was writing this. It's like that dichotomy of like, I'm saying one thing, I'm feeling another. I'm doing one thing, I'm vibrating another way. So you don't want to do that, like I have learned that never works. That never works in manifesting what you truly want. The way to manifest what you want is to, get the truest emotion and the truest feeling and the truest intention, and then line up your words and your actions and your vibration with it. So anyhow, I hope this has helped you. Thanks for listening, and I'm sure we will connect again soon. Thanks. Have a great day.